Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Coming live from Fiber Heart, children of God. And that's you. And that's you. I hope someone got something from last night, but I know most people are scared to even watch mine. I call them sometimes outrageous or definitely outside of the box. Psalm 49, I thought we'd continue. This is Organite. If you're simple-minded and narrow-minded, you can call it witchcraft. It's literally just, to me, art. It was supposed to help with, like, stuff, like EMF stuff, but it doesn't really. It is on brass or copper. It's brass, I believe. Yeah, anyhow. This thing's sturdy so far, but once I say stuff like that, whoo, you know, you never know what happens. I got this from an artist out in Arizona. He does these organites. He puts all sorts of, I guess you could say precious metals, some crystals from the earth into these Sedona. He molds them, and this is a very heavy pendant. It came with a chain, but the chain was not, it's not sturdy enough for moi here. It may not, I wouldn't suggest it for anyone because this has got some weight to it. So I wanted to do Psalm 39. Back at Brentwood, I used to do tea tag moments. Super fun, I thought. I would pick the ones I thought meant the most. I sometimes even post messages from tea tags around. These are from Yogi. Teas, I think they have the best quotes. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know about that one, but most of the time they're sweet and loving. Give thanks for unknown blessings that are already on the way. I'm not going to discuss any more of the tragedies. I'm going to try to keep this particular video at a positive encouragement. Let's think about some things. Outside of that, I don't want to discuss. And so while we're doing tea tag moments, relate to your greatness and not to your weakness. This one really stood out to me because I run negative about myself, and I have a hard time seeing the good of me. But I was raised in that sort of environment, and I probably would have already still leaned that way with my personality type. So here's this. I love to use these. To me, this is just one of those a simple pleasure in life. I mean, a French press. I didn't even need to use it for the tea. There's only a few tea bags in here. What this is, what I've done here is cinnamon, cayenne, honey. Just your regular old, like a black tea or Picot tea. I think I said it all. And so then I more or less steeped it on the stove, and I'm going to press this down. And it looks like a gnat found it to be something fun too. So just little cups. Probably not even safe. They're from way back. But something, okay. I hate to burn my mouth. We're starting here, but so I diluted it a bit. It's still a bit strong. Woo! That gnat's here to. A little bugger. So someone was wondering about. Sometimes I try to plan these a little bit, and sometimes I'll still just wander off with you. We'll go wandering. Is the homemade probiotic. That's what's going on. So we're gonna move it because that's what this is. Oh, I bet that was charming. We're gonna move this, but this is what's called a ginger bug. This is how you make your probiotic, is with the ginger bug. We're gonna move that out here for now. Sorry about that gut shot, because you know my camera is really super wonderful. is we would either continue on Psalm 49 or save that, because that'll take up too much time if we're at 5 minutes. That's good. It's good. It's got a little bite to it. I don't really drink caffeine every day now. I at least got that out of the way, but sometimes I'll have a treat. I don't even like to discuss it, for God's sakes, and I'll just start drinking caffeine again. So pretty much no coffee, or very seldom anything like that. any of the coffee, teas, stuff like that. Sometimes I would like to read out of poems of travel and adventure. I get a little silly when I read them. And I wanted to do 2 animals today. I'd already turned to them, or I had some paper stuck in them. Was the kangaroo and the koala. And I had been trying to get a website back up again. I've had so many that I've been really praying. I'm like, Lord, please, I want to help fill the gap. The Lord, please, At least just do some, maybe even just 15 to half-hour readings for people with any kind of spiritual questions. I was getting a website up a month ago, so this is a kangaroo, the kangaroo and the koala. If this is your first time visiting, the puppies had some fun, and then it looks like some else spilled and dirt and living has occurred to this. Kangaroo is gratitude. Koala is empathy. And it's a sweet reading, his take on this. In a gist of it, he is just saying one great way to learn empathy is to sit silent. Maybe not think about yourself for so many minutes a day, just even sit out in nature when you're visiting with someone. I was having high level panic attacks for too long there, and I think I tend to get on the phone and get excited with people, but then even when I would start to ask questions, nobody even would want to talk on the phone anymore. People are technically that scared of surveillance, or scared of who's surveilling me. Me too, by the way, because I never went to prison, but it's kind of like I'm treated like I was some sort of hardened criminal that was let off on parole from something that was... I know the people that are doing it to me should be in prison, not out on parole, and it's too many of them, and a lot of them are really rich. That's the other scary part of it. I mean, I'm talking really rich, and locally. Some of them are local, or were. We'll say they were local. So just look up your own on the koala and the kangaroo. 2 of my favorite critters. I can't say there's many animals I don't like. I don't care for the reptilian party of animals. Never been a fave of them, only because I was plagued as a child with dreams about, we'll just say serpents, but lots of snakes. It was a reoccurring, I guess you could say, a night terror. And that may very well be. I just don't think that we're supposed to have them as pets. It's my opinion. Sorry about it. Maybe one of the smaller lizards. I have no problems with that family, like the lizards, and I just don't care for snakes or crocodiles or alligators. And for the life of me, I don't know how people can live around them. But if I say that, we know how funny God is, right? Still a little head full there. Apologize. Other fun book of mine is, I believe this is A Brother and a Sister. I wonder what that's like to have had like a good relationship with sibling. I was born way later. I was kind of just thrown in this pack of madness. And they made sure to isolate me from the other two to cause strife and tension and upset and jealousy. And more of the sense of you're just not loved. But then it's funny because they turned on me, the man that raised me. And sometimes, yes, I do off-road into healing stuff because there's a lot of people still going through a lot of things, and that is part of my station too. So if you come on here and you're sick of all that, then just don't come back. It's just some days I'll wake up or midday I'll just be like, the man that raised me hated me. He hated me so bad he clothed it in something that wasn't real, and they started to really show his true colors at a certain point in time. And but to think it went way back when, it's a hard thing to, well, it's hard to deal with. It hurts. I don't know if that's something like that would ever not hurt. This is something else that the brother and sister did. I know I've probably showed this before. Catherine and Ross Betrace. I don't know. I wasn't finding this very funny, but I guess it could be to someone else. What they did is they took during the shutdowns and all the stupidest things that they heard that literally came out of people's mouths, and they put like celebrity, and they put it into these day-to-day things. I just use them, I'll read them, and then I use it back as a note to keep note of something. I've read these a couple times, so we're going to pick one. What's today? Well, even though it's from 2020, I got it discounted at a, like a pharmacy / drugstore. I don't know what you want to call it. Well, that is a drugstore, but like a gift shop, you know, pharmacy place. So my birthday's... Oh God, I can't keep up with what day it is. I'm thinking I'm a day ahead. That can happen. I don't like to do the really long ones. It's already kind of getting long. I apologize here. I'm trying. Well, I'm going to have to go look at my other calendar, honestly, to figure out what I know it's between a Wednesday and a Thursday somewhere. Good Lord. We got our steaks in. We're going to go to every other month because we don't want to eat that much red meat. The packs are about 10 to 12 pounds. It comes with dry ice and this really great insulated box. Somehow it is able to travel quite a ways to get to us from a ranch. And there was only one time, and it was technically my fault because I'd had a bad sleep night, and it was one of those horribly ungodly hot days, and only then did some of, like a couple steaks on the bottom started to thaw out on the driveway because it's black topped. So we're just going to do the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th. The 11th is Yom Kippur. I don't know the last time or if I even ever knew that my birthday would fall on that holiday. It's a big one. For that religion. France's deeply unpopular socialist president Francois Hollande, says he will / won't seek re-election. Yeah, so it's a lot of that, like, huh? And on and what happens after the 34th? Question mark. Just as the 33rd minute of the first half had ended, the 34th started. Soccer commentator in Chelyabinsk, Russia, thanks to Alex and Shauna from Canada. On awe, but we want to keep our legs. Please do not keep your legs. Sign, Vietnam. That's weird. It's very disturbing. I found some of these to be disturbing. Test question on Columbus, cosmic, extraterrestrial. Sorry. Extraterrestrial. We're going to skip. Now I'm going to start that where I'm like stumbling over my own lips. All right, just put the cough drop down. Extraterrestrial. Test question. Why is October 12th an important day in history? Students' response. Because that is the day Columbus discovered the Earth. This was thanks to Abani Hoy. The last one was, I don't know what's going on here. We'll try one more. It says question on Quora.com. Do they have toilet paper in Canada? My dad told me it's not part of their culture, but I wasn't sure. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'm afraid that was from what people were injecting in themselves, but we won't get into that right now. So relate to your greatness, not your weakness. This is good for people that don't run arrogant and they have insecurity issues. Now, if you're super arrogant, you might want to take that and flip it around. Give thanks for unknown blessings that are already on the way. That's very great. That's staying hopeful and not in a defeated mode. But if you know me at all, I don't believe in all that. I think the excessive positivity movement was extremely toxic. And I don't agree with it. I agree with realistic expectations. Always try to hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and sometimes it's worse, and it's definitely not the best. And I think it's horrible that they were trying to force people during the positivity movement to technically ignore or act like nothing bad. It's a horrible way of relating to someone and to have empathy or care about what they're going through. All right, so we're just going to do like a quick thing like this. Oh! No, I'm not mocking God. No, stop. Just having fun. Fighting back. Sometimes I end up repeating ones that I have already read. Well, this is going to be referring to colors. And actually, this is kind of funny because I hate to say it, but I have noticed a lot of the Native American circles where it's like they want us to call them this specific thing. They've changed the name like 100 times in the last 30 years. Look, I'm going to call you natives. If that's an issue, you can go back in my ancestry if you want somehow, and that I have a little bit of this and that. And so I think I should be allowed to say, I just think I should be allowed to say what I want to say. They don't want to be called Indians. They're not Indians. They're natives, but then they're the first people, and then there's all these other names, and that's fine. All right, but now we're getting hung up on words again. What would you call me if you saw me? Well, we don't need to know that because I know a lot of people what they would like to say. Fighting back. Look now, my brother. This is by Shingi, Delaware Chief. Look, sorry about that. We'll just do this, okay? And then it's not going to focus right. That's great. Technology. We'll buy something better. Look now, my brother, the white people think we have no brains or in our heads, but that they are great and big. Look now, my brother, the white people think we have no brains in our heads, but that they are great and big, and that makes them make war with us. We are but a little handful to what you are, but remember, when you hunt for a rattlesnake, you cannot find it, and perhaps it will bite you before you see it. All right, Brent, I have to ponder on that one, but we're not going to take up time for me to ponder it. It's not that the will to win that matters. Everyone has that. It's the will to prepare to win that matters. Did you catch that? Don't take life too seriously. It ain't no how permanent. Walt Kelly said that. Bear Bryant, football coach, said the one about it's not the will to win that matters. Everyone has that. It's the will to prepare to win that matters, meaning in your training, your mindset, and just focus. All right, Benjamin gets a little dirty there. I don't know if he was slinging a few back, or gross or whatever, I don't know. Rules to live by. Make it a rule of life never to regret and never to look back. Regret is an appalling waste of energy. You can't build on it. It's only for wallowing in. Catherine Mansfield, writer. I agree and disagree. I think without a little bit of regret, we'd redo some of the worst things that we've ever done in our lives. But yes, sitting in it is a really bad idea, and the devil does use that on us, on many. It all once again goes along with how you're kind of made up, what's your package of a person, how much you reflect or go back in time to think about things and then go forward. I do a little bit of all the three, future, mid. I go back, maybe back into the future. But to connect with friends and stuff, I would tend to probably want to reflect, because that was my way of getting to learn about one another. But I was notoriously accused of living in the past. And so a lot of those people I left behind because I didn't know where they were living. It looked like they were just running around in a circle with, or in a maze and thinking they were getting somewhere, and then they never got there. I hate to be mean, but I find that a little bit of past reflection is helpful, but we definitely don't want to get stuck in it. That was by Catherine Mansfield. I said that. This is by Benjamin Franklin, statesman. He that lives upon hope dies farting. I'm just not understanding that either. But aren't these fun? We could do them all day long. Let's just keep doing them. We're just going to keep doing them. I might kill that fly there. This is good. This is for those of us that do tend to reminisce or get stuck. If you have any kind of where it just didn't stop, a rough life, most of those types, we have to really work hard in not getting in that state and of regret, as the last part said. Survival tactics. Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go. Herman Hesse, Her, like her, and then Mann. Herman Hesse. Yeah, you'll find I do that sometimes. I don't like that one at all. But I have an issue with the Rothschild. So, writer. It's writer. I don't even know if I can read it, because that could get me off-roading. No, I'm going to read it. When there is blood on the street, I am buying. Nathaniel Mayer Victor Rothschild, 3rd Baron Rothschild banker. Now, how disturbing is that? Yeah, exactly. Need we say more? Well, you got that. So, how you guys doing? All right. I think this is a part of when he uses the word illusion, but I'm not in Mark Twain's mind, or, he's not alive, but what I mean is I see the word he's using here as illusion. This is just what I'm seeing. It is kind of like a daydream. You have a vision of something, and, without those, for me, because that's part of my personality type, is I am a visionary. I do have good visions. It's not all doomsday scenarios, but honestly, those daydreams of something sweet, something kinder, something gentler, gets me through some of the roughest days with Jesus. I'm just watching the fly. You gotta watch them. You gotta watch them. Because they just do whatever they want, and I don't really care for their flair. Oh, I didn't get you? Oh, excuse me. All right, so we're going to do one more. Oh, Lord, it's going to end up as a long one. Okay, so Mark Twain said, supposedly, don't part with your illusions. When they are gone, you may still exist, but you have ceased to live. Interesting. Kurt von Goot. Oh gosh, you guys, I do apologize for that. I'll just be trying to pronounce it however I want. It's funny, my name was easy, to remember, and I have 2 first names technically, or supposedly, I don't know. I've heard all sorts of strange stories about my last name. One was from a really creepy state trooper that liked to be weird with me. Is that D-R-E-W, and he debated with me that there was no way that D-R-E-W was German or English, that it would have been French. I'm like, but that they changed the spelling. He had this strange story about these. I'm going to go off on that too, because I don't know. This guy was a real weirdo. We are what we pretend to be, so we must be careful about what we pretend to be. Wait, I'm sorry, I might have read that wrong. Okay, we are what we pretend to be, so we must be careful about what we pretend to be. Get it? Got it? Good. Kurt von Goot, I'm going with that. Junior writer. Maybe that'll show us somewhat so you know how badly I pronounced it. Well, we took a lot of time on that today because those are fun. This is great to have around. The Bible's always greatest too, but in the sense of just keeping it simple, I'm just like, I don't know how deep you go into your brain. Mine's a little bit too much going on there. Not excess racing anymore, but it's just, I have a very active brain on thinking and pondering and but we're going to do 2 more because I just think we all just really need this right now. Survival tactics and the silver lining. To survive, it is often necessary to fight, and to fight, you have to dirty yourself. George Orwell, writer. There is no education like adversity. Benjamin Disraeli, British Prime Minister. One more. We're on a roll. Ooh. John F. K. I was not... was I alive when it happened? I don't believe so, but see, they were still doing the yearly or more, John F. K's assassination was one of the first of those many of assassinations that I leaned towards that because I don't know if I've ever discussed this. It's on my Quora. It's too much jibber jabber. My description, and I'm under B, capital B, hyphen, capital A, B-A, heart, for truth, and I think I use the letter 4 by heart and truth. My YouTube and Quora are a little different. No, I'm not on Twitter and twats and all of that, all the rocks, and I'm sure that it would help, but did you just cause a problem in the video and use a dirty word? Yes, I kind of did. Because there's actual, those sites like that, or Twitter that are literally just sex apps. Okay, we're going to do both because these are great. 2 of my favorites. This is E.B. White, writer. Genius is more often found in a cracked pot than a whole one. Amen. The problems of the world cannot possibly be solved by skeptics or cynics whose horizons are limited by the obvious realities. Agreed. We need men and women, I'm adding women, who can dream of things that never were. John F. Kennedy, U.S. President. Okay, so on that was, he would obviously be in the top groups of the men that I knew of as a child, because I would have had limited resources, and I don't think they wanted us to learn much in the home I was in, so there was limited books and literature. John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, all of the great, the ones we're told are great and all of that. And I'm not saying they're not great. They're great. Please don't mess my words. I think it goes along the thing where I didn't like what I saw in the schools and groups and large settings of peers as the ganging up on kids or the shunning of children, how I would sit back a lot of times, or you could say I learned to adapt, but so that I wouldn't fully stick out like a sore thumb, was I would watch group dynamics. It was it's just something I did because I couldn't stand institutional learning, sitting in that hard chair all day, the lines, the shitty food at lunch, just all the stupidity of it all. Mainly to make us as dumb as rocks, and then pick out the ones that would be the most conforming and going along with the lines of the traditional learning, is because I don't believe that every child is a traditional learner, and I don't believe that every child belongs in a public school, and I believe there's just been a lot of God now knows what school. Boogity bada boop is, don't lose it, Heather. Don't lose your thought. So that would have been my thing, was those focuses of for instance, how could that happen to these great men? They wanted the right change. They wanted these things to be implemented in society, but they get killed. Well, that's a big form of bullying because their lives are ended, but that the event could happen. And so I did a lot of pondering of that, and also group settings. Plus I was raised in a roller skating rink, so there was always crowds of people, and I would sit back and watch crowds. And also part of my job, even probably too young, maybe not necessarily was it assigned to me, but I was able to, not every time, if I was in the rink, I was able to prevent or get the adults before, say, a fight or some other bullying event would occur in the rink, or say the kids were doing something they weren't supposed to do. And so then I could alert the adults running the rink, hey, so that was a skill that the Lord gave me, is I can see shifts in a group, classroom, you name it, a bar, a grill, a restaurant, a club, a football game. I can sense the change in the atmosphere and the energy around the people, and I know when something really bad's about to go down. Prior to, say, the first swing or the first punch, or even in the rink when there was just a skater that we probably shouldn't have even allowed to have skates on, and they wouldn't listen, and we would be like, we really need you to walk along the wall because you're not good on your feet, and then they'd go flying off and nearly, snap their leg in half. So I could usually catch some of that too. I don't know why. I'm sure it was the environment I was raised in. I don't find it to be a bad quality. Some would say, well, that doesn't seem like very much fun, or that, that does make you a snooper trooper. I don't know. I mean, I would say the survival technique, the couple times or so or more that I've ignored it, I could have avoided some really bad stuff. So I look at it as a gift. I don't know what you want to look at it as. I don't know what your gifts are, but I do know that God gave you gifts. And so let's just round out on that. And we don't have time for nothing else. Or we do try to finish up Psalm 49, but that's more of like a partial chastisement from just, or a warning from God about money and how do we use money and how do we see money. And I believe I stopped last night, and that video was actually done the night before. Or no, that was the last night or so. I apologize. Been trying to help John and help myself. Did I already mention he is going 2 days? Hallelujah. I hope it's a hallelujah. I hope it is. It seemed a bit sudden, and I was to give the message to my husband, which was a little odd to me. For some reason, when we called in his 2 days off, it didn't go through the system, but yet we had the code numbers for it. So apparently then I'm not on his phone, so then, and I was busy prepping the chicken pie and stuff. I guess they didn't know if he was all right, and they were worried, and we felt really bad. I felt bad. So apparently they had to resort, and the boss had to call me, and I just send him the codes and stuff, and he said that John's to go on days and to take this week to try to recalibrate as best as possible. But obviously after being on midnights for years, that's going to be longer than a week, but that's what he's allowed, and I don't know how long it is. I think it's because they want him to specifically talk to someone, one of the companies coming in for one of the projects. And Psalm 49, do we start from the beginning? I'll rhyme so that it flows, then it's going to get really long. So it's mainly riches can't redeem. You could even just say riches can't buy you a place in heaven. That he should still live forever. I'm going to jump to verse 9. Then he should still live forever and not see corruption. No, Psalms aren't so easy to do that way. We're going to try to start at the top. It might shut down though. I cleaned out most of the trash on my phone. All the files that are not necessary right now. Hear this, all ye people, and also if I end up in court, I can say, I don't know, I don't have any of those files left. I don't know if that would be lying, but I don't recall that particular video. I don't have it on a file. Because of free speech is what I'm discussing right now. Hear this, all ye people, give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline mine ear to a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the harp. Proverb, riddle 5, verse 5. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about? Surround. They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches. That's reference to Mark 10:24. None of them can be of any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him. For the redemption of their soul is precious, and it ceaseth forever. Matthew 16:26. Precious is translated as costly. So for the redemption of their soul is precious or costly, and it ceaseth forever. They that he should still live forever and not see corruption. Psalm 89:48. That he should still live forever and not see corruption, meaning the pit. For he that seeth that wise men For he seeth that wise men die, likewise the fool and the brutish is translated as senseless, person perish, and leave their wealth to others. 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Genesis 4:17. I could get us off track. I think what that's going to reference to is, I don't know. I'm not going to say it. My initial thought is that they think they own the land, but really it belongs to God. And it just says that Cain bare Enoch, and he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. I don't know, I might have been over-analyzing that. Let's just try to get this done. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. 12. Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beasts that perish. Does not endure. This their way is their folly, yet their posterity approve their sayings. Luke 12:20. The way of those who are foolish and of their posterity. 14. Like sheep they are laid in the grave, death shall feed on them, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning, and their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. Daniel 7:18, Job 4:21, be consumed, or Sheol, always say it wrong, Sheol. 15, but God will redeem my soul from the power of the grave, for he shall perceive me. Be not thou afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. For when he dies, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. Though while he lived, he blessed his soul, and men will praise thee. When thou doest well to thyself, he shall go to the generation of his fathers. They shall never see light. Deuteronomy 29:19 himself. I already said that when he said thee. Job 33:30, the light of life. 20, man that is in honor and understandeth not is like the beasts that perish. Ecclesiastes 3:19. So we'll just do Ecclesiastes 3:19, hopefully quickly, but it's one of those little books. Ooh, well, look at that. I'm kind of on track a little bit today. Don't get too haughty there, Heather. 3:19. It's about vanity. God judges all. How about we do that real quick? 16. Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiastes, Chapter 3. God predetermines the events of life. God predetermines the conditions of life, and God judges all. 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. Let's go there again. I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, SONS, just a gnat visiting me, is, I gotta find out what else is out. It's got to be you're looking for the ginger beer. You guys, it's out there. I put it out there. So you're going to need to relocate. Okay? Thank you. Oh, now you're after the tea? Oh, no. Not beggars, no choosers, huh? Okay. Or beggars can't be choosers? I get it. All right. No. I said in my heart concerning the estate of sons of men that God might manifest them and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. Ooh, that's rough. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. If you lost anywhere, 19:3. This is King James Version. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts, even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. All go into one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Oops. It's supposed to be a question mark there. Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that in his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? I don't know. I couldn't get that quite right. That is verse 22. Let's read evil oppression, because that's what we're all enduring for too long now. It's been too long. Ecclesiastes is a great book if your brain's needing some exercise. Like chapter 4, I could just keep going today. Is insufficiencies of human religion is chapter 5. So here God is even stating the insufficiencies of human religion. Wealth does not satisfy. Wealth brings difficulties. Wealth comes ultimately from God. No satisfaction in wealth. That's chapter 6. No satisfaction in children. No satisfaction in labor. No satisfaction in the future. Meaning these are all in this instances of, if we want to call it, codependent or relying on the world, and that we will find satisfaction in the world. It doesn't mean you won't have joy for your children, for God's sakes. It just means don't live through your children, and don't think that your pride should not come from your children. Your pride should come from, you shouldn't have really much pride at all, quite frankly. Just enough to be functioning and confident enough to execute what you need to in your life in a sufficient manner without being a tyrant. Is evil oppression. So I returned and considered all the oppression that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Wherefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Yea, better is he that both they which have not yet been, who hath not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. I'll do my best to make that more understandable. At the hand saw all the toil skillful by a grasping for the wind. Meaning, like, hope to God you're not in an era of oppression, but hopefully then you still have sentiment or condolences, mourning for those that were oppressed by evil and lost their lives. But at the same time, it's hope that you don't have to endure such evil oppression. That might be it. I don't know. I'm not saying I translated that properly. Folly of hard work. Transience of popularity. Insufficiencies of human religion. I know I just repeated that. This is good. This is about you're looking outward, or you think your work is, and then you're envious and a vanity and vexations of hard work. No, now that does not mean hard work is not important. Once again, this is, are you finding all of your worth of who you are in your hard work? I'm a hard worker. You're not, so I'm better than you, or whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. Again, this is verse 4 of chapter 4 of Ecclesiastes. Again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. I had kind of went ahead and saw all the toil skillful by a grasping for the wind. The fool foldeth his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Better is a handful with quietness than both the hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Then I returned, and I saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone, and there is not a second. He hath neither child nor brother, yet is there no end of all his labor. Neither is his eye satisfied with riches, neither says he, for whom do I labor, and bereave my soul of good? This is also vanity, yea, it is a sore travail. I'm going to stop there, and before I forget, is when I got saved, I was clueless. I didn't know how to go about it. I had used to call out to God, but somewhere between high school, I had started to lose my way with the Lord. I had some pretty serious social setting situations, a rift or a breaking away from friends, especially because of their lying and gossip and slander. I was in the pits of depression. It was my youngest, most horrible moment in this very short frame of time. A summer of, I think it was like 1994. I am not certain on that. Could be 95. My other Bible had when I technically really found the real Jesus. It wasn't just this thing that was taught to me through somewhat of the Lutheran mentality. It wasn't this thing over there. I was mainly agnostic. I've said I was leaning towards atheist at one time because I don't know where agnosticism would go to, or I more or less would have got wrapped up in heavy, heavy mysticism. I don't know if I would have never not had some sort of spiritual inclination. I just don't know. It took many years after getting saved to fully reconcile my issues with some situations, in the sense of some of my ancestry and also the state of the world in general. Is the people that I was associated with at that time, and I am always grateful for them, regardless of how that all fell apart too, is they had me focus on these middle books, but then always was reiterating or repeatedly letting me know Jesus covers all of our sins. Works doesn't get us into heaven. But if you're kind of new with God and the whole operation, I do think Psalms and Ecclesiastes, Proverbs are a great place to start. If you're just trying to figure out how to realign your life and become a more honest and person, to know how to live right with what is most important on this earthly existence. And I'm going to wrap it up, because I only do one of these. I try to not do one of these long ones no more than once a week. I might have actually had one too close to this one. I don't have it like on a calendar. I just kind of go with how what's driving me for the day. This one I wanted to stay much more focused on encouraging you to not give up. Do not give up, okay? And I get concerned too. It's just the dang gnats. You guys, you rascals, are getting on my nerves right now. No, enough is enough. We're going up to my tea now. Oh, shoot. So we're starting on days Monday. And part of me is super excited, but I also know he'll have to go through major adjustments. It's an entirely different thing going on than days. And I remember when he was on days. But that was when the fabrication shop was a lot different. And but I don't know. I don't know, guys. He had an extra premium for nights. And so I don't know if it's fully hit him yet. It's kind of hit me in an odd way. And because it's such trying times with finances. We've tried to make as many adjustments as possible, but not enough. And we're still not, it's still not like it was. We were money bagging for a while there, and we're not going to sit there and beat ourselves up about we should have been hoarding our money. We used to have to barely make ends meet prior, and everything had to be a certain way. And then the times when we didn't even really like when he was money bagging, because we never saw him. And he was just a ghost of a man, and it was really sad. And so we're more of those people that it's like, if we have what we need and a little bit more, but not crazy, we're happy like that. Everybody would want more. And I know that I've been struggling, or it's most likely a tax. I think about more than a few opportunities where I could have been continually money bagging, but the sacrifices of my soul were to do it, to get it, was not, I couldn't do it. And yet here I occasionally or randomly struggle with, what if I had done it? I mean, I couldn't do it. And even my husband, if I ever bring it up, he's like, no way. We wouldn't have did it. And he's like, I wouldn't have let you, And mainly what it was is, I'll just say simply, as vaguely as possible, I've went into great detail about this before, no, I'm not gonna, the opportunities I was given, there was always a clause. It was, they didn't say money bagging. That's supposed to be humorous. It's something my son used to say, and it was hilarious because I think it comes from some sort of rap thing. I would have to have let go of my beliefs that Jesus is the true Son of God. That's that in a nutshell. It is. And I know that beyond that, it was even going to be more of a slippery slope. And it was in relation to the Masons and some other more occultic more extreme occultic groups that I did not ask for an invite. Let's just put it that way. And it was when we were in the double wide in the trailer park, and it was actually a nicer one, I must say, but they did run it like Nazis, so I wouldn't go back there any day of the week because they tried to keep it from looking like a crazy town, you know what I mean, with tarps and stuff everywhere. So they would be up your butt in there. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. And they wanted all of us spraying pesticides, and that was the sickest I got. I wouldn't spray the pesticides, but all the neighbors were nuts. And I got pretty sick then. And I don't like regret that I didn't take the opportunities. It's that I don't get why God, like, it was either that or then it was over here. And it's like, yet, maybe it's just not yet. And I got that for a long, long time, was not yet. It's not time for you. It's not time for you. It's not time for you. And that got to be very horrible. Is I assumed I was hearing wrong, and I wasn't. I wasn't hearing wrong. It was, and when you're like, what is she talking about? I knew I had some sort of spiritual thing that I needed to do for God. But he, many a times, and if I would get going too excited, he would literally allow some pretty rough stuff. I think mainly because he was trying to keep me around longer instead of me constantly trying to get my head blown off. And so then these things would happen that technically set me back. And I would cry with my husband. And I don't want to cry right now, but... And he would say, he goes, if it's not time, it's not time, but you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, and it's going to get you to where you're going. And he was literally one of the only people. He was the only one in my life. It's the craziest story, and it's been so distorted and made into something so demented. But man, if it wasn't for our friendship and starting that band together and trying to meet other musicians and stuff, I might still be stuck in that bedroom where I was raped at my parents' house. Or maybe I wouldn't even be alive, or I'd be dead, or they'd have me comatose. If it wasn't for my husband, I don't know what I would do. He's not greater than God, but like the way he popped up in my life, literally, but not really. Like, it was so odd, the occurrence, because it was literally through his buddy. I was back at college. I had to do some spiff up on a computer course. Then I was trying to go online because my family was no longer going to help, and I get it, you know. Well, they weren't going to help with nothing, is what they were doing. But they wanted me cooped up, locked up away. I just wanted to meet some musicians. At those times when I would get stuck back with family, I had to fight for some element of socialization just to keep my human skills going. So I put a flyer up and I'm like, I'm going to make this happen. I've got all these lyrics. Time is short. And this was back in 2005. I had been beaten up again by the supposed dad, and other stuff with the brother, and just they were just all over me, horrible. It was just so abusive, and my poor son. And I didn't stay up with the Indians, and it was just a disaster. And with the natives, I needed to stay up there longer. But someone had already infiltrated it up there. And I had looked at some rentals, and the next thing I know, the rentals aren't going through. Because I was still talking with the one predator. And the mother, our supposed mother. They're just monsters. Well, so this would have been 2006, and I'm like, I'm putting this flyer up. I'm going to meet musicians. We're going to make this happen. And it was mainly not even about making, like, famous. It was that I wanted to just have a group, and we would do improv together, and it would just be fun. It'd be like once a week or something. It was all ages, and I didn't care what age anyone was, old, young, and just that wanted to get together and jam, and that's how we met, and it was amazing, and it still is, regardless of what we've been through, and regardless of the lies and the deceit that have been spewed around about us. And but it's fun because this is that time of the year. We would have just been getting going with the band, and then we tried to start meeting other musicians, and we interviewed and met quite a few. But yet they all wanted to change stuff that we weren't ready to change, and or we just weren't up to snuff for them because we're not. My husband reads tabs. We don't do notes. We were both trained with notes, but for some reason it didn't sync. So we go by sound, rhythm, like just a natural like way of trying to come about a tune. And we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with a lot of musicians. Don't get me wrong. We did. We really did. And but then one day we just finally looked at one another and we're like, I don't know if we can go through any more of these interviews, and we're upsetting these musicians and we don't want to upset them. They're wanting to do these things that we had no plan on doing, and we started to feel like assholes, and maybe we just are, but it was just like we had this vision of how we wanted it, and it just ended up being us two, and we found out we were horrible bosses. We didn't want to be. We just wanted it to be fun and flow, and we all just kind of come to an agreement. And a lot of the times, not every musician, don't get me wrong, they were literally wanting to come in and reconstruct everything. I mean, just like barely with us, we barely maybe had 4 rehearsals together, and they're wanting everything revamped, and we're just like, oh my God, we took like a long time to get these songs like kind of like this, like that's not what we're going for. Or all right, so here we are, an hour. Good Lord. I love you guys. These are my testimonies, and they're also for my husband too. I never mention this because he's seen what's been done to me, and it's something that he'll always have, and the memories of all the good too. And there is a lot of good, and we can never forget the good. You can't forget the good, okay? I love you. Bye. Sniffles is leaving.